Welcome to another New Year, New You. Well, we're moving into January, so I'm pleased to welcome my guest today, and that is Northern Ireland's and the Costa Blanca's top hypnotherapist. Now, Alan Gilchrist has been in practice for over 25 years and treated over 50,000 clients, written for numerous magazines, been on numerous radio and also TV. So I couldn't think of anybody better than to help us with New Year's resolutions. So welcome to the show, Alan.
Hi.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Right, now I'm assuming that this time of year you are absolutely inundated.
Totally inundated. There's an awful lot of people want to give up smoking or to lose weight, particularly this time of the year.
Yeah, well, I do want to cover that, but I want to cover quite a few things in this session. And that's obviously one of them is motivation.
Right, okay.
We'll cover that a little bit later on. But first of all, before we go into how you can help people and how hypnotherapy can help people, what is the science behind hypnotherapy?
Well, hypnosis itself, it's only a state of relaxation. While the person's in that state, the mind becomes suggestible. And obviously I don't do party tricks or anything like that. No one to see them. But it's used as a device to help people overcome particular problems. For example, you've got the common ones such as stopping smoking or losing weight. To the more ones like phobias, anxiety, stress, confidence. And basically what it was a chap in the 18th century called James Braid who coined the name hypnosis after the Greek god Hypnos. And after a while he suddenly realized that it wasn't a state of sleep, it was actually a state of heightened awareness. And what he did was he tried to then change the name to monoidism. But by that time hypnosis had caught on, so we're stuck with being hypnotherapists instead of monotherapists.
Oh,
so there you go.
No, I didn't know that actually, I have to say. So who can use it?
Anyone. Anyone can use it. Yes, anyone virtually that wants to, it's like the old expression, calm down and see things in a different light. You've got people like psychologists use it, doctors use it, sports motivators, they use it, and in fact, I use it.
Okay, so when we're going to come back onto that a bit later on, New Year's resolutions. Now, we've already moved into January.
Okay.
I know you'll run off your feet at the moment, but obviously we're setting our New Year's resolutions, but some of us might be struggling quite a bit now. What's your opinion of New Year's resolutions?
My opinion of New Year resolutions is that they have to set achievable targets or achievable goals. An awful lot of people, when they're coming through the door, will come in with targets they cannot do, and they expect under hypnosis to be able to do them. It's impossible. What,
like make me a better singer?
Correct. That's one. I get that often, quite a lot. Or they want to go on the X Factor. Right. Could you make me sing so that I can get onto it? No, unless they have had singing lessons before. They can't do that. So that they have to have play their part in all this.
So you've got to be realistic.
Oh, very much so.
With what hypnosis can do.
Very much so. Very much so.
If you haven't got it in there, it's not really going to happen.
No.
So obviously the most common ones are stopping smoking, losing weight. But what about things like setting personal achievements, decision making?
Oh yes, we get an awful lot of people who want to change something in their personal lives, particularly at the beginning of the year. Maybe they want to move house, but they're worried about doing so because of the recession. You'll get maybe someone who wants to change career, or maybe wants to propose to their girlfriend or their boyfriend.
I suppose people could be nervous about that, really.
Very much so, very much so.
So you have a saying, don't you? And I've obviously read it on your website. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Did I say that right?
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, which is true. If you think about it, you know, if there's not something being prepared in advance for the person, for even the likes of stopping smoking, if the person is not prepared in advance, well, you know, they're going to fail anyway. And it's the same with people at the beginning of the year. People set January the 1st as this is it, this is where I'm going to start now. But at the same time, they're planning everything to a date, not to a personal choice.
Right.
And that's where an awful lot of people fail. That they're using the date as the excuse. And there's people who would say give up the cigarettes on the 1st of January. By the 10th of January, the motivation is gone because it's a date. It's not, their health isn't involved or anything like that. It's simply a date.
So do you think more thoughts need to go into things, more you know, mindset.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. It's the same as a person who maybe perhaps wants to further their career, or they want to branch out into something else. They have to research it first of all. They can't just come into me or anybody and say, okay, I want you to put me under hypnosis so that I'll be brilliant at whatever. They can't do that. They have to go and research it. They have to go and develop it, and to see exactly what it is they want out of it and what they want to do.
Right. Okay, well, we are into January now, Alan, so a lot of people may be pretty bad-tempered right now because they failed miserably. Like you just said, they set the 1st of January as the date, got to the 10th, 12th, and it's all gone custard. It's all gone out the window. So what would you suggest to them? Come
and see me.
Right.
Okay, that's where the motivation comes into it. Back to what I was saying before, hypnosis is only a state of relaxation. At one moment it's a state of heightened awareness. So you're making the person more aware of the problem and how to get over it and to deal with it. For example, back to the smoking again, what you're doing with that person is you're reinforcing it. Obviously with the CDs that I would give them, they play their CD every day for a month, and it's like teaching a dog a trick. It's a constant going in over and over and over again that will actually help that person.
Okay, well, we are just going to take a bit of a break, but don't go anywhere, because if you want help with achieving your goals and the stopping smoking or the losing weight, we're going to find out exactly how hypnosis will work for you. So join us after the break. Welcome back, and yes, it's part 2, and I've got Alan Gilchrist with me, top hypnotherapist. Now, Alan, before the break we covered quite a lot of things about the New Year's resolutions, etc. It's now that time when most of us are probably struggling and failing miserably.
Okay.
So let's go back to the hypnotherapy side of it, and I know you do fast track hypnotherapy. Alan, what is the difference between regular hypnotherapy and fast track hypnotherapy?
Well, obviously by the name, it's fast. It's a fast way of doing it. It all started actually when I first started and qualified as a hypnotherapist 25 years ago. Over in Northern Ireland, there was an awful lot of people who were involved in the shootings, the bombings, and such like that.
That was a terrible time, wasn't it?
Horrendous time, and these people had nowhere to go. And I had started up, and I used to do a thing called analytical hypnotherapy, whereby you would actually regress a person back to try and find out what was happening to them in their childhood that was causing the problem. But to these people, that wasn't it. This was happening to them there and now.
Now and in the present.
Yeah, yeah. So what I had to do then was cut away what I had been trained before to do and start doing my way of doing it, and it worked. And I've been doing that ever since. So instead of perhaps 15 sessions of analytical hypnotherapy, it's completed in 4.
So you've
just cut away
right to the nitty-gritty
without losing any effectiveness. In actual fact, it's more effective because the person, instead of them having, I'll give you an example. A girl came along with the fear of dentists. Right, hadn't been to the dentist for about 25 years, right, and was absolutely in agony. And what we did was we did it in 2 sessions. Now, other hypnotherapists would maybe want to regress them back to find the originating cause of it, which would be away in their childhood, but this is not what the woman wanted. She wanted that done there and then, and that's what I do.
Right, so she wanted to go to the dentist like tomorrow.
Exactly, and it was done over 2 days, and that was it, and the girl went to the dentist, and she actually cried at the dentist. So she did, yeah, she cried because she was delighted she could actually do it.
What about, so what do you do? So obviously you suggest when you're in a session, you must do suggestive phrases, words. What would you do with the smoking?
Well, you're putting in that cigarettes no longer have the same appeal to them. They'll also not symptom substitute by overeating, and various other suggestions as well, where the likes of the weight control is you're putting in there high calorie foods no longer have the same appeal to you. Low calorie foods you would love, you'll not want to eat 2 meals, and so on and so on. If it's for, say, the likes of confidence, you're putting in that to picture themselves in a situation causing feelings of insecurity or self-doubt, now see themselves as a really calm, confident person, speaking clearly, speaking well.
Do you think your tone of voice has got anything to do with this? Because obviously I've listened to your relaxation tapes, and I actually sometimes feel myself going a little bit, Alan.
I don't know, I can't answer that one. I cannot answer that one, but it does help if the person does a relaxing voice, obviously when you're using hypnosis, you will get some people coming along, perhaps maybe they don't like my voice, or perhaps they cannot understand the Irish accent. But generally, it's just training and just remaining calm.
What about if someone's got a phobia of spiders? What would you
Arachnophobia.
suggest to them?
Okay, well, what you do there is you put the person under hypnosis, and you would get them to imagine the spider that they see in their mind. If you can picture it like a TV screen and they're watching a horror film, they're frightened of an image in a piece of glass. It's not real. So somewhere in their mind they have created an image of a spider and it's producing that fear. What you do is you switch the image over. You would get them maybe to imagine the spider, cross-eyed, a broken leg, spots, wee pink spots, singing a wee song. And you're doing exactly the same as what they would do. They would laugh under hypnosis, but they've actually switched that image. So by laughing at it, they cannot be frightened of it. And if they're not frightened of it, it goes away.
Right.
It's as simple as that. So the other sessions are mostly involved with the confidence about going out and about and going into different places that they had been to before, where there was a spider. For example, I had a woman through the door, and what had happened to her was that they had just recently bought a house out in the country. She walked into the house and there was a spider and she refused to go into it.
Right.
And literally she was living in a rented accommodation, and we had to get her to do that. We had to get her back into her own house.
Sure.
So you're teaching them, the first sessions you would do that. The second one is loading up all the positive stuff, and the third one is saying, right, enough is enough. Now you're going to learn how to do it yourself by auto-hypnosis, self-hypnosis.
Right.
You teach them that, and then the fourth one, check, make sure it's going okay.
How long do the sessions last?
It lasts about half an hour.
Okay.
It's straight in the session. There's no sitting asking about all their grannies and grandas and how they've been and things like that. It's straight in and getting started in the work, because all the work is done while the person is under hypnosis.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
I would think so. Okay, well, join us after the break, because again we've got a new year, so you might be thinking about a new career. So Alan's going to give us some tips on motivation. So we'll see you in 2. So yes, here on New Year, New You, the whole series has been about achieving something for the new year. Now, Alan's with me. Alan, motivation. Some of us have got it in abundance and some of us just haven't.
That's correct.
How do you go about helping people with to motivate people?
Well, you can do it for various things. For example, maybe it's for their golf or different sports. I had a girl through the door who wanted motivation for the marathon. You'll get people who want motivation for their job, particularly in insurance for some reason or other. That's the latest one that's coming through the door.
Well, I was going to say, it is quite a tough economic environment out there. Obviously, that is going to get better because it's all about positivity on the show, Alan, so we want to see that. Because it's a new year, people might be thinking about looking at changing their careers, and for that reason as well, moving into different careers. How can you help people with interview techniques?
It's one of the things I do. The session is actually broken into 2 for the person. The first part, I show them how to sit, how to talk, and how to appear in front of the people, because an awful lot of it is when they go for the interview. It's what the interviewer sees. And you have to get away from it, from the way they have been before. Perhaps they have failed in an interview before. Particularly where teachers are concerned. I would get an awful lot of them through the door, have to go up to the panel. Right? There's usually 4 people sitting there. That's
quite nerve-wracking, isn't it?
It's horrendous for them. But what happens is that I would sit and talk to them just like I'm talking to you now, and just yarn away. And then out of the blue, I'll just turn around and say, by the way, are you really good for that job? And I'm watching their reaction because they weren't expecting that. And then I can see how they truly looked or moved or whatever they did on the originating interview that they did before, that maybe they messed it up, and then we correct that.
So do you actually do this under hypnosis or not under?
No, this is done before that.
Right.
Okay, and then you would go into the hypnosis part afterwards. But for example, an awful lot of people cannot look at another person straight in the face and talk to a person just as I'm doing with you now. We're talking that way. And a tip is that if a person wants to look at another person straight in the face, they don't. They look at the bridge of their nose. And they just talk to that the whole time. And it means they can keep their eyes up there.
That's clever.
Isn't it?
Yeah, didn't think of that.
Yeah, and if you want to impose your views on another person, you look at the bridge of the nose, but refocus it about an inch behind that and go, really? Where were you last night? And you can feel it very overpowering, very intimidating. But that is how the stage hypnotist got his, oh, look at him, he's got evil eyes. He didn't. He was using a fixation technique.
Oh, right.
So there you are.
All right, what about people again moving into the new year and have decided, right, I want more confidence, more self-esteem, I want to, you know, really get on in life.
Yes.
What can you do with self-esteem?
Well, you can do that. An awful lot of people coming through the door maybe do want to change their job, or they've been bullied at work or whatever. Well, you're putting in the ideas that they're much calmer, much more confident person, they deal with things, and to picture themselves in a situation previously causing them insecurity or self-doubt, but now see themselves as really calm, confident person, speaking clearly, speaking well, and whoever they're listening to is listening to such a cool, calm, confident person as them.
So that could help for sort of public speaking as well.
Very much so. Yeah, you would get them coming through the door. Again, the father maybe having to make a speech at the wedding. You know, that's a very, very common one.
So what are your top tips, Alan, to, you know, to motivate us or to help ourselves with motivation?
Well, obviously the person needs to make the target or whatever their ambition is achievable.
Right.
They must do that. There's no point in making something which is totally unachievable. And they have to be positive from the onset. I'm going to do that. And it's the same as there's a thing called Coué's law of reversed effect. Where the will and the imagination become in conflict, the imagination will always win. For example, if I said to you now, don't think of the colour red, think of any other colour, but don't think of red.
What am I thinking of?
Thank you very much.
Red.
Okay. It's the same as a person who says, I don't want to think about cigarette smoking today. And the mind goes, you want to bet?
Yeah.
And it does the exact opposite. It's the same as a person who, I'll give you an example. If I put a plank of wood across that floor and asked you to walk along it, it looks silly, but you could do it. But put the same plank of wood 20 stories up between two buildings, would you do it now?
I'll tell you where to go.
Okay, so where the will and the imagination has now become in conflict, the imagination has just won. It won't let you do it. Okay, now that is where hypnosis comes into its own, because under hypnosis you're using imagination and switching things around. For example, it's the same as the person with the spider. I'm not going in there just in case there might be a spider, so they're actually creating in advance that there is a spider in there, therefore I will not do it. So what you're then doing is that you're switching it over and making it funny.
Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure, but just before we go, because hopefully we've answered quite a lot of questions and found out a lot about it there, but if we haven't and you've got more questions, the website? AlanGilchrist.com. And everything's on there, isn't it? Everything is on it, right down to the cigarette smoking, the losing of the weight, and even the names of all the phobias. There's about 300 phobias listed. What's your, what's the most difficult one to say, Alan, just before we go? Hippopoto monstro astra alia dalaphobia, I think. Right, answers on a postcard. You'll have to tune in later to find out what that's for. Alan, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. And we'll see you again next time for some more New Year, New You.